Walters is proudly showing the Cricket World Cup this morning as the U.S. takes on India. Match begins at 10:30 a.m.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Now the pitch. Swinging a drive hit to deep right center field. Thomas going back, way back. Warning track wall looking up. It's off the wall and in play. It's going to clear the bases. Green around second, heading for third. And the throw there not in time. Gets away from Senzel. Green breaking for the plate. Senzel retrieves. He throws it away, but the runner already scored. And he circles the bases. Riley Green with a triple to score three and then scores on the error. And just like that, the Tigers score four on one play and lead it 4-3. He's coming set, third base side of the rubber. The kick and the pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and it was with another splitter. And we will have extra innings here in Detroit.
Young and Abrams got the speed out there at third and first. Chafin deals. Swinging a fly ball right field, sending the right fielder Perez back. He will make the catch. Both runners tag. The throw will go into second. Coming down the line to score is Jacob Young, and the Nationals are in front here in the 10th, 5-4.
And welcome to Nats Chat for Wednesday, June 12th, 2024, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Comerica Park in Detroit. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. A work of art. Tuesday evening's game one of a three-game series for the Nationals at the Detroit Tigers was not, but this was a Nats win, a 5-4 10-inning win at the Tigers in a game in which the Nats overcame a 4-3 8th-inning deficit. The Nats now have a four-game winning streak, tying their longest winning streak in this regular season, in which the Nats now are 31-35. The game, not pretty. Each team committed 2 errors. Just 3 of the 9 runs in the game were earned runs. 6 of the 9 runs in the game were unearned runs. Neither starting pitcher lasted for more than 4 2/3 innings. The two teams combined to use 11 pitchers. There's a lot more that I could highlight. But the bottom line is, Mark, the Nats won again. They found a way.
And I'll tell you what, Al, I think there is some value in that, because how many times the last few years would we have seen them find a way to lose a game like this, a game that they did not play very well, did a lot of things wrong, and we would have seen them just not execute when they had the chance. And the difference this time, they did execute when it really mattered the most. They took full advantage when the Tigers made mistakes, and when they got to extra innings, they got their runner in, and they had their best reliever out there to prevent the Tigers from scoring their run. This is the kind of game they did not win the last few years. It's the kind of game they are winning right now. In a weird way, that's a sign of progress to me.
To me, this game, in so many ways, is the Nats bullpen. We have praised the Nats bullpen this season. There have been plenty of impressive performances by the Nats bullpen. I think this is the best game by the Nats bullpen so far this season. 4 Nats relievers combined for 5 1/3 scoreless innings with 10 strikeouts. You had dominance by the Nats pen in this game. And I know that the Tigers aren't a great team, but whatever, 5 1/3 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts from your 4 relievers. Derek Law, 1 1/3 scoreless innings, 4 strikeouts. Dylan Floro, a perfect bottom of the 7th. Hunter Harvey, 1 2/3 scoreless innings with 3 swinging strikeouts. And then Kyle Finnegan, maybe the MVP of the game, 1 1/3 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts, came into the game, bottom of the 9th, runners on first and second, 2 outs, game tied at 4. He generated a huge swinging strikeout of pinch hitter Colt Keith. We cannot throw enough bouquets at the job that this Nats bullpen did in this game.
And what I liked about it is they were kind of each picking each other up. If somebody couldn't finish an inning, somebody else came in and finished it off for them. You saw multiple innings in several of those cases. Hunter Harvey getting up to 32 pitches. We talked about over the weekend, by not using them, that left them fresh after the off day. Davey took full advantage of that and used as much as he could out of Harvey in this game. And then Finnegan, every single batter he faced in this game was up there with a runner in scoring position, because he comes in having to pitch out of the jam in the 9th. And as we know, once you get to extra innings, you're always pitching with a runner in scoring position. So that is high leverage at the very peak of what that is. So really good job all around by them. And yeah, a game where one mistake by any of them can completely turn the game around. And they did not make that mistake. And it's just a continuation of what we've seen from them this year. It's not a perfect bullpen 1 through 8. But we know the guys, at least 1 through 3, have been outstanding. And at times 4 and 5 and even 6 have been very good for them. It's the deepest bullpen they've had in a while. And they rely on them a lot, and they continue to deliver for them.
And the strikeouts, to me, are what really stood out. This is not a bullpen that strikes you, no pun intended, as a great strikeout bullpen. We've talked about this at times over the years, how it would be nice if some of these guys were better as strikeout artists. And in this game, I mean, this was like watching, 4 flamethrowers, and that's not what we had on display, but 5 1/3 scoreless innings, 10 strikeouts was just so good to see. And Harvey and Finnegan and Law. I mean, Derek Law coming into the game, 4 outs, all strikeouts. Just tremendous stuff from this Nats bullpen. And the work of the pen was needed due to what happened with the Nats starting pitcher in this game, Mitchell Parker. He allowed 4 runs, all unearned, in 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 4 hits, which were a triple, a double, and 2 singles. He issued 3 walks. He recorded just 1 strikeout. He threw a lot of pitches and a lot of balls. 81 pitches, just 46 strikes versus 35 balls. He also committed a fielding error. Now, he did toss 4 scoreless innings. You didn't feel good about the way he was pitching over the 4 shutout innings, but he did give you 4 scoreless innings. So you said, okay, maybe this is one of those outings in which the guy's peripherals are bad, but the run prevention is good. Well, then came the bottom of the 5th, in which Parker allowed 4 runs, all unearned. The runs came off a 1-out walk, a 2-out fielding error by Parker himself, a 2-out walk, and then a 2-out bases-loaded triple by Riley Green off the right center field wall on a 1-2 pitch, and 4 runs scored on the triple, which ended up being a Little League home run thanks to a throwing error by second baseman Luis Garcia Jr. Now, I ask you, and you noted this on X, Parker came into this game with the streak. He, in his last outing, became the first pitcher for the Nats since the franchise moved to D.C. to have 3 earned runs or less in each of his first 10 Major League regular season starts. He technically allowed 4 unearned runs in this game. Didn't pitch well, but I guess technically, officially, the streak does continue, right?
The streak is alive, even though it was his error that led to everything happening, which is why I always insist that if the pitcher commits the error, can you at least charge them with the earned run when that happens? No, officially, the streak is alive, 11 in a row, not allowing more than 3 earned runs. Look, he was kind of fortunate to get through this the way that he did. In those first 4 innings, he was constantly in trouble. He didn't get his first swing and miss. I couldn't believe this. I had to double check to make sure this was true. He didn't get his first swing and miss on a pitch until the strikeout of Riley Green in the 4th inning. So he went 3 scoreless innings without a swing and miss, which is pretty hard to do in today's game. And then by the time you get to the 5th, I mean,
a check from swing bouncer was going to be an easy 3rd out, and somehow he just did not catch the ball.
Davey was telling us afterwards, he sat there in the dugout laughing for 3 innings. He couldn't believe that Mitchell Parker couldn't make the play on, I believe it was a 34-mile-an-hour little dribbler back to the mound.
PFPs. We're going to do PFPs. I mean, really, I mean, it's, I sat there and I told you, I'm not going to lie to you. I sat there scratching my head like, you can't get a ball easier than that.
And as Parker described it, he looked to make the throw before he had the ball in his glove, and it's the cardinal sin of pitchers fielding, and it really came back to bite him. And you had a sense as that inning played out that was going to be important.
Let the game speed up on me. I tried to make the throw before I even fielded it, so, I mean, got to be better than that. We do it a lot during spring training, do it a lot while we're here. Just have to have that, can't let that happen.
The walk to the number 9 hitter did not help either. The walk right after the error did not help. And then we'll call it Little League Grand Slam, essentially, by Riley Green, in which some other things went wrong as well. Tough lesson for the guy to learn. He's been good. Obviously, he keeps giving them a chance to win every game. This was probably his worst start, to be honest. And even so, 0 earned runs and 4 runs on the board. He gave him a chance. If this is him at his worst, that's actually kind of encouraging.
The only thing I would not worry about, but would just raise. So we know that he had an issue with walks in the minors. This is now twice in the last 3 starts that the walk has been a problem. Now, in the middle start, he issued no walks. His last outing, the 5-2 loss to the Atlanta Braves at Nationals Park last Thursday evening. Parker in that game, really good. 2 runs in 7 innings. He issued no walks in that game. But the start prior to that, 3-2 loss at the Cleveland Guardians on June 1st, 3 runs, 5 2/3 innings. He in that outing issued 4 walks. So 4 walks in that game, then no walks. Now 3 walks in this game in an abbreviated outing. I feel like that maybe is the only thing that can undo Parker with the way things are going. If the walk creeps back up on him and becomes a problem. I know he's not a big-time strikeout pitcher, but he's done a good job of preventing base runners. And he's pitched well enough now for long enough now to where you're not like stunned by it anymore. Like he's been one of their better starting pitchers since he came up to the majors. But I guess the walk would be the one thing that you say to yourself, okay, if that does become a consistent issue, then things could start to unravel here.
Yeah, he doesn't really get hit hard. He had the one unfortunate hit, and the timing of that it scored 4 runs on the play. But for the most part, he does not get hit. You're right. When he gets in trouble, it's because he's not finding the strike zone. That was the issue in the minors. It has not been the issue up here, which has been great to see. You do worry a little bit about that. But I think by the same token, he clearly has figured something out mechanically to keep himself around the strike zone for the most part. So I would hope that, if he has a 3-walk game, that's as bad as it gets and doesn't get worse than that. And maybe he continues to have these games with no walks or 1 walk. That really was his undoing in this one. I think even more than the error, I think that's what Davey Martinez was more frustrated by. The 2 walks that inning, including the walk of the number 9 hitter that kind of got everything started. So yeah, it is something to watch for sure. But I think hope that he's made enough adjustments anyways this year where that's not as much of an issue as maybe a year or 2 ago.
Hey guys, it's Al Galdi for Window Nation, which has another great offer for listeners of the Nats Chat podcast. Window Nation is extending its semi-annual sale, 50% off all window styles, plus 0% interest for 5 years, and an additional bonus if you schedule an appointment between now and the end of this month. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that Al Galdi sent you. Window Nation windows are the best. Add to the look, feel, and value of your home. Every Window Nation window undergoes a 50-point inspection before the window leaves the Window Nation factory. And know that Window Nation's vinyl windows can do everything that wood or composite windows can do, and at a fraction of the cost of wood and composite windows. Take advantage of this offer for listeners of the Nats Chat podcast. 50% off all window styles plus 0% interest for 5 years and an additional bonus if you schedule an appointment between now and the end of this month. 866-90NATION or windownation.com. That's 866-90NATION or windownation.com. And tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
From grown-worthy dad jokes to patching up skinned knees, your dad is one of a kind. This Father's Day, give him a gift that is guaranteed to take him to his happy place. Omaha Steaks. Order mouth-watering gift packages starting at just $89 when you go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code NATSCHAT at checkout. Each package is backed by their unconditional money-back guarantee. Show your dad the love he deserves with a gift as unforgettable as he is. Visit omahasteaks.com, promo code NATSCHAT at checkout.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Dylan Cruz, Brady House, and Robert Hassel III combined went 0 for 12 on Tuesday night in Harrisburg's 2-1 loss to the Bowie Bay Sox. Cruz played center field. His OPS is at 759 for the season. House at third base, 726. And Robert Hassel III, his OPS is at 738. Now back to the show.
Infield in the swing and a pop-up foul down the first base line. Chased by Canna. Long run. Makes the catch for the out. Abrams tagging. Coming home. Throw to the plate. He'll score standing on a foul fly down the first base line.
The Nats offense in this 5-4 10-inning win at the Tigers on Tuesday evening. 5 runs on 5 hits, which were a triple and 4 singles. The Nats worked 4 walks. That was good. But 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. But the Nats, in part due to a couple of Tigers errors, end up putting up a 5 spot in this game. The triple by the Nats in this game came from C.J. Abrams. He is the Nats starting shortstop and number 1 batter, 1 for 4 with an RBI triple, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Top of the first, Abrams drew a leadoff 4-pitch walk, and Abrams in the Nats a 2-run fifth, a 1-out RBI triple to right field for a 2-0 Nats lead. And then, maybe even more impressive than the triple, Abrams on the very next pitch scored on a Lane Thomas 1-out first pitch RBI sac fly foul ball to the right of the right field line for a 3-0 Nats lead. That was something to C.J. Abrams put forth the triple and then on the next pitch score on a sac fly that was a foul ball that was caught for an out.
That was my favorite play of the game, one of my favorite plays of the year. It required immediate reaction by him and by Ricky Gutierrez to read that play, see what was going to happen. You can't hesitate there. You can't start down the line or kind of just sit back. You have to realize immediately, hey, wait a minute. This guy has his back to the plate as he's trying to chase down a foul ball. He's not going to have enough time to turn around and make a good throw to the plate, but you got to be on the base the moment he catches it to take off, and he read it perfectly. It wasn't even a close play in the end. So real props to C.J. Abrams and Ricky Gutierrez for reading that and coming through with it. And I got to tell you, I don't remember very often in my scorebook writing down sac F3. That's not one you see a lot. Sometimes you get the sac F9, but the sac F3 on the foul out to the first baseman is an unusual one. All the credit there to C.J. Abrams and Ricky Gutierrez for making it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly helped that the 3 on the play had his back to home plate. So he made it was almost like a Willie Mays style catch. So that was a part of this. But still, that was super impressive what Abrams did. And he had his speed working in that inning. The Nationals put this out during the game. Abrams on the triple went from home to third base in 11.47 seconds, the fastest of his 5 triples this season. So the speed was working for Abrams in that inning. Awesome to see that. And then, beyond that, I mean, the offense in this game, like Lane Thomas had 2 RBI sac flies. Like that was the kind of offensive performance you had. Thomas in this game as the Nats starting right fielder and number 2 batter, 1 for 2 with a single, a walk, and 2 RBI sac flies. And beyond that, I mean, the Nats were manufacturing whatever they could. You know, the Nats scored a run in the top of the third on a single and 3 walks. Jesse Winker drew a 2-out bases loaded walk for a 1-0 Nats lead. So 5 runs on 5 hits, 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. In a weird way, it's impressive that the Nats were able to, conjure up 5 runs out of what they did offensively.
It felt like they should have scored a lot more early. Kenta Maeda was on the ropes. He was all over the place, could not throw strikes, especially in that 3rd inning, and just a little more patience. You felt like they were going to come through and knock him out of the game early. They didn't. They only got the 1 run in the 3rd. And again, that felt like in the past, boy, they missed that opportunity, and that's going to come back to haunt them at the end of the night. And to their credit, it didn't, because they were able to manufacture the other runs later on. And as you said, the bullpen was so good that they made those runs hold up. But offensively, not a whole lot to get excited about in this game, especially considering you were not facing a premier starting pitcher in Kenta Maeda or the Tigers bullpen. Outside of the Abrams triple, there really was not a big-time hit by anybody in this game, I don't think.
No, the Tigers do not strike you as overly impressive. So this should be a series in which the Nats win multiple games. We'll see. But yeah, the offense was not particularly good in this game, and yet still the Nats got the 5 runs. Also in this game was an injury for the Nats. Joey Gallo, starting first baseman, number 8 batter, 1 for 3 with a single, but leaves the game due to hurting his left hamstring. What do we know as we are talking here?
We don't know a lot. He's going to get tests in the morning, but I mean, you watched it. You saw him grab his left hamstring as he approached first. You saw him kind of gingerly walk back to the dugout, and then you saw Joey Meneses take over in the field the next inning. These are generally not things that are better the next day, and maybe in a few days you could be, and you can avoid the IL, but he's a big guy. My guess is they're not going to want to take a chance. Davey did say that they will probably be trying to get somebody in from Rochester in time on Wednesday as they wait to find out what the official word is. On Gallo, it's possible you get an MRI back and everything looks fine, and maybe he just needs a day or two. My guess with him and with the way that looked, we're probably looking at an IL stint, even if it's a short one. And so I think there's going to be a new face here. And then I think it's an interesting question of who they decide to go with, because they could go a number of different ways if you're trying to replace Joey Gallo right now.
Well, when we last heard about Riley Adams, the talk was trying to play him some at first base at AAA-Rochester. Do you think Adams would be the call-up, or do you think it would more likely be somebody else?
I don't believe at last check he's actually played first base in a game yet. They may be taking grounders there, but I don't believe he's actually played in a game. So maybe, but I don't think they'd be comfortable doing that yet. I think what's interesting here, a couple things. They have 2 open 40-man roster spots. Now, we kind of know at least one of those is going to go to James Wood eventually, but there are other machinations you can make to make that happen. You don't have to do that. You don't have to save that spot for him now. So say Juan Yepes, who plays first base at Rochester, has big league experience with the Cardinals, had a pretty good spring training for them, I think would be a possibility if they want to go that route. I think the real question is, if Gallo is going to be out for any length of time, do you just trust first base to Joey Meneses and say, okay, well, then you can do whatever you want, because now you just need a DH or somebody who plays another position and rotate guys around and however you want to do it. So I would think either you're going with Yepes because you do think you need a first baseman and you don't want Meneses there every day. Or if you're comfortable with Meneses at first, you could call up Trey Lipscomb and have him play third, some second, even some first, have Senzel DH sometimes, kind of move them all around the field like you've thought about doing for a while, or call up almost anybody else and know that you have the positional flexibility with the outfield and the other infield positions and the DH to kind of do whatever you want on a daily basis. So I could see them going one of multiple ways on this. I think it boils down to, do they trust Meneses to be their everyday first baseman, or do they think they need somebody else who can also play first alongside him?
Well, Juan Yepes for a while was doing really well this season for Rochester, had a great April, but has since cooled off. A not so good May, and so far a not so great June.
Hey listeners, Tim Shover's here to tell you about an offer on the Game Time app. There's a sporting event going on this weekend in the DMV you might not be aware of. Argentina's national soccer team, the defending World Cup champions, take on Guatemala this Friday night in Landover, Maryland, at what is now known as Commander's Field. There are tickets available on Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code NATSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code NATSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
As always, he plays the game hard, and he pulled his hammy, so we'll know more tomorrow. But it was his left hammy.
It's funny that this happens now, because one of the things I was going to bring up on this show, or a soon to happen show, was what is happening with Joey Meneses. He's not starting regularly these days. And this has kind of gone unnoticed. But if you look at recent lineups, he has not been starting with any kind of regularity. In the 4-game set against the Braves, he started just 2 of the 4 games. He did not start in this game at the Tigers. It kind of feels like he's been being phased out a little bit. And interesting now that maybe some more playing time is going to come his way, given what has happened with Joey Gallo.
So he pretty much is just starting against lefties at this point. And it's funny because when he does start, he's still in a prominent position in the lineup, as we've talked about, but he's really not starting against righties. And what you've seen Davey Martinez do now is essentially Jesse Winker and Eddie Rosario. One of them is DHing, the other one is playing left field when they're facing a righty. And Gallo is pretty much always in there. For all Gallo's struggles, he has, and I noted this one at bat prior to him getting hurt, he's starting to show some progress at the plate, hitting a little more, striking out a little bit less. He's also played really good defense. He's actually, we found out today, leading all Major League first basemen in defensive runs saved this year. And I think you watch him, you can see how valuable he has been there. So if he is out for any length of time, that is actually a loss for them. But yeah, I do think that's an interesting question with Meneses. Do they say, you know what, he's kind of only becoming a part-time player for us right now, so why are we going to just throw him back in the lineup every day because somebody else got hurt? And that's where I think it would be interesting to see. Do they feel the need to bring in another first baseman to at least split the job, if not get the bulk of the at-bats there? If not, if you do say, hey, here's one more shot for Meneses, let's see what he can do playing every day and playing in the field, which he's always tried to claim. He thinks he's a better hitter when he's more active in the field. Then here's your chance. Go ahead and do that and bring somebody else up. So we'll see. And again, there's a chance, I suppose, that Gallo doesn't go on the IL. But knowing what the injury is and the way they usually treat these things, I don't think you take a chance on that one.
Would be a tough break for him if he does go on the IL. He was on the 10-day injured list April 27th to May 17th with that left shoulder injury. Yeah, the defensive run save thing with Gallo is so interesting because, of course, he signs with the Nats. The idea is he's going to be an outfielder, and he has a history of being a good defensive outfielder. Instead, this season, it has been illegal for him to play the outfield. We've barely seen that. He's been playing first base. I don't know that his defense has necessarily stood out that much to people. But, the numbers are what the numbers are. I think that's the value of the numbers. Your eyes don't always tell you an accurate story of how someone is doing defensively. And so for a second consecutive season, Dom Smith last season, Joey Gallo this season, the Nats are getting plus defense at first base. That's pretty impressive. That's not something that I think most people anticipated.
No, I certainly didn't know that. I mean, they said, hey, we think this guy is good at first base, but I think he's been better than advertised. I think where it really is, kind of like Dom Smith was, he's really good at just stretching for low throws and catching throws that are not right on the money. He makes a few plays himself. He's got a little bit of range, but I think more than anything, it's just his ability to catch anything that comes his way. For such a big guy, he's one of the most flexible athletes I've ever seen on a baseball field. He can do the splits at first base. I've seen him do these stretching exercises where he lifts his entire leg up on the batting cage behind home plate. He's huge physically, but he has the flexibility in his legs of somebody who you don't think of with that physique that he has. And I think he uses that to his advantage in the field.
We did see Ryan Zimmerman play some good defense at first base. Who to you is the best defensive first baseman the Nats have had since the franchise came here?
I'm going to say Adam LaRoche. He did win a Gold Glove there, and the combination of the scoops and fielding grounders and good throws to second base. I think that was always Zim's problem. I've even seen Gallo doesn't look all that comfortable always doing that. I think I would say Adam LaRoche. I think Nick Johnson, when he was healthy, was pretty good, but we know he just wasn't healthy a lot. To me, LaRoche was such a steadying influence over there. And just everything he did was smooth. It looked effortless with him. And for whatever reason, I know Mike Rizzo feels this way. He's always mentioned this himself. A left-handed first baseman just looks better, looks smoother. You're in the proper position to make the throws, everything else about that for whatever reason. And so to me, I would put LaRoche at the top of that list.
You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website that you can check out as well, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can purchase a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. Nats off to a good start in this 3-game series at the Tigers. Game 2 Wednesday evening at 6:40. Jake Irvin will be the Nats starting pitcher. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
And Howie Kendrick, the 36-year-old, has just put the Nationals on top. A runner at first, 1 out. A.J. Hinch is going back to his bullpen.
Do you demand action on the U.S. Open this week? If you do, forget those surface level shows and check out the Pat Mayo Experience right now. You need the picks? I got them. Want to hear about Pinehurst from people on location? I got that too. Need some data and trends to impress your friends about golfers they've never heard of? I got plenty of that. Take golf seriously, but have a few laughs at the same time. Sub to the Pat Mayo Experience now, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.